let's get into main topic number 1, shall we? And our first main topic today gets submitted to us by Alexander. And Alexander writes, I just saw that Variety is reporting that now Cineplex has agreed to an early VOD window with Universal. Does this mean now it is pretty much all but confirmed that most of the theater chains will have to accept this? Thanks from the Great White North. All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, listen, for those of you who do not know, you've probably heard me mention Cineplex a couple of times. Cineplex is like the monopoly movie theater chain in Canada. Like in US, you got the 2 or 3 big ones. You got AMC, Regal, Cinemark. In Canada, there's only really one dominant. There's a couple of others, but there's really only one dominant movie theater chain, and that is Cineplex. Cineplex used to be my favorite movie chain in the world. Actually, the movie theater, the Cineplex theater called the Ancaster Silver City, which is in Hamilton, the part of Hamilton called Ancaster. That was my movie theater. I literally drove thousands of miles on a couple of occasions to make sure when certain big movies were coming out that I was excited about, I had to see them in that specific theater. Now, Cineplex has fallen out of favor with me over the years. I really have not approved of a lot of things that they've done, and I've soured on them a lot. Quick note, though, regarding my movie. About 2 months ago, an actual exec from Cineplex reached out to me and asked about showing my movie. I don't know, it's because I'm Canadian. They thought, well, why don't we show your movie on our Cineplex screens? And it was really funny. They had a great sense of humor because the guy who wrote to me about it said, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm the acquisitions guy from Cineplex. And then he puts in brackets, I know we're not your favorite theater chain right now, which I thought, hey, respect. That was actually pretty funny that they wrote that in. But then, COVID stuff, theaters continue to show. It just never worked out. But big movie theater chain in Canada. Now, as you guys know, Universal has systematically been really trying to destroy the movie theater industry by taking advantage of the fact that a lot of these theater chains are in desperate need right now. They're in a totally desperate straits right now. And Universal, like a predator, has come in to take advantage of their desperation and to say, hey, tell you what, the theaters will let you show our movies if you shorten the theatrical window. And hey, they didn't have to say yes, but AMC was the first one to say yes. Then Cinemark said yes. And, we said once the Cinemark one happened that, well, that kind of does it. The dominoes are going to fall. Like even Regal Cinemas, who were very firmly saying we will never agree to collapsing down the theatrical window. We'll never agree to that. Now that AMC and Cinemark have done it, the pressure is squarely on them. They're going to have to do it. And as an extension of that, Cineplex, the Canadian theater chain, has now agreed to the same deal. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, who writes, under the terms of the new agreement between Universal and Cineplex, Universal Pictures, Focus Features, and DreamWorks, all part of the Universal family, Universal DreamWorks Animation, can put new movies on premium video-on-demand platforms in as few as 17 days. Titles that generate at least 50 million in opening weekend ticket sales will have to play exclusively in theaters for 31 days. That is a 66% drop from what it used to be 90 days. Now it's 31. At most, it's 31. Or 5 full weekends before going to VOD. Traditionally, new releases remain in theaters for up to 75 to 90 days before the move to digital platforms for a $19.99, or as we've seen recently, like a $29.99 or a even more expensive VOD. Now, if these terms sound familiar, well, they should, because these are the terms that are pretty much similar, lock in step with the Cinemark deal that we just heard, right? So basically, it's the whole idea of, we will put out a movie. Universal says we will put out a movie in your theaters. And in exchange, you agree that 17 days, not 90 days, but 17 days after we put this movie in your theaters, we can put it on premium VOD. But if the movie we put in your theaters generates, say, I don't know, over $50 million in its opening weekend, then we agree you should be able to keep that movie in your theaters exclusively longer, so we'll stretch it out another 2 weeks. We'll move it from 17 days to 31 days. And you can have a full month, and then we can take it and put it on VOD. Now, we've talked on this show ad nauseum about why a deal like this is absolutely catastrophic for the movie theaters. But again, right now, at the tail end of a massive pandemic, they're in, like we said before, they're in desperate situations. So they're doing what they need to do, and like a predator, Universal's is coming along to take advantage of that. Now, this is causing a domino effect in the industry, which we'll talk about a little bit more when we talk about Disney in a few minutes. But it is what it is. And it really should then come as no surprise that Canada and their largest theater chain, Cineplex, we're going to get caught up in this. They're in as desperate measures right now as any of the U.S. theaters are right now. Maybe even a little bit more so, because the Canadian government has taken the pandemic a hell of a lot more seriously than the United States government has. And so that's even hurt them a little bit more. So it is what it is. It's not surprising, but you're going to see, I expect to hear that Regal at some points, to quote Daenerys, will bend the knee. I think at some point in the next couple of weeks. I have no insider information, just to be clear, but I expect probably within the next few weeks, we're going to hear Regal has also taken the knee and will take the deal. And then it's going to cause a domino effect with other studios as well, but we'll get to those when we get to those. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this whole story? And now Canada's getting in on it too. Jump on down into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys.